The NBA is a very exclusive sports league, one of the most exclusive as a matter of fact. Getting into the NBA is so difficult that even some of the most talented basketball players almost believe it impossible. Watch this video to the end to find out just how hard it could be to get into the NBA. How hard is it to make it to the NBA? One of the most elite sports leagues in North America is the NBA, with 30 teams and 450 players. The NBA has about half as many players as the NHL, MLB, MLS, and NFL, and about 1/4 as many as the WNBA. It's more difficult to enter than Studio 54 was in the 1970s. Just 60 rookies were selected in the league's annual draft, which took place in June. It was a chic event with pricey outfits, cameras, and celebration champagne for the adults. But those celebrations were only the climax of a much longer narrative. It takes a lifetime of work and sweat-drenched sacrifice to make the league. The 76th season of the NBA started on October 19th, and therefore it's crucial to remember how challenging it is to acquire the abilities necessary to participate in even one NBA game. To find out how difficult the path is at various phases of a player's journey, The Guardian spoke with 3 standouts: current collegiate phenom Zion Cruz, veteran Mississippi high school player Bryan Adams, and 2-time NBA champion Earl Cureton. Cruz, a shooting guard from New Jersey who committed to play for DePaul University in the 22-23 season, stands 6 feet 5 inches tall and is rated among the top 10 in his class at his position, per 247sports.com. Nevertheless, despite his athletic gifts and considerable acclaim, his route to college basketball, typically but not always the last stop before the NBA, has not been straightforward. Cruz claims the task only grew tougher and harder. He said when he initially started, the long, sweaty days at the gym weren't easy, but he just committed himself and the improvement is phenomenal. Cruz, the first high-profile recruit to sign with DePaul in a long time, claims that his inspiration came from watching his parents wake up every morning to work to support the family. And when he noticed pals joining the NBA, he started seriously considering playing professionally, but it's challenging to get noticed by scouts and coaches. Cruz argues that the key is to stand out to yourself first, and the rest will take care of itself. The scouts will notice if you're worried about impressing yourself, he warns. Cruz's path to collegiate basketball has had ups and downs, such as committing to and withdrawing from schools, so maintaining composure can be challenging, particularly with the full-time job of practicing and competing. It's important to maintain concentration and shut off the background noise when using his talents. Cruz claims that he also values character development and self-improvement, a lesson he picked up from some Chicago Bulls who visited him and gave him advice. Cruz claims that he won't lose focus on the goal even if he doesn't make the NBA, or if it takes years. He claims that he loves basketball. It would just be another step in his career. While he will undoubtedly join a professional club eventually, others, even ones with dazzling basketball resumes, have not been as fortunate. As a high school athlete in Mississippi in the middle of the 1990s, Adams was well known. He was a top 20 recruit this same year as future players Steven Jackson, Mike Bibby, Tim Thomas, Jermaine O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant. However, Adams claims that things took a bad turn after he committed to the historically black college Alcorn State. Prior to making a decision, the Tennessee Titans of the NFL selected quarterback Steve McNair from Alcorn State with the 3rd overall pick in 1995. Adams thought he should proceed according to this plan. When Adams decided on Alcorn State over a more prestigious university like Kansas or Kentucky, a lot of people were furious, he recalls. It was unheard of to do that at the time. When he made that choice, he'd say a lot of things altered. Neither was he Mississippi's Mr. Basketball, nor did he make the McDonald's game. Adams, who fell in love with the sport at the age of 6, while playing basketball without a backboard or net on a bicycle wheel conversion, attended prestigious recruitment camps as well as Piney Woods High School in Mississippi, where he won state championships. His career, however, came to a halt after he entered college. Despite not playing for the coach who had initially recruited him, Adams averaged roughly 11 points per game during his first 2 seasons. However, after that, his scoring began to decline. In 1999, the year Alcorn State qualified for the NCAA tournament, he injured his foot just before the start of his junior year. He scored 3 points on average that year and 8 the following. Adams now works as a coach, teaching the game to young players in Texas. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, a former NBA player who has had a rocky relationship with the league, is a colleague of his. Adams, who is aware of the challenges involved in maintaining a sporting career, said that one has to have the right people around them. One must ensure that their decisions are sound. One thing to keep in mind is that playing at that level requires good fortune, and by the grace of God, this wasn't a sad narrative, though it could have been. However, the road doesn't finish there, even if a player does join the NBA, and it was particularly true at a period when obtaining guaranteed contracts was as difficult as finding an eel in an oil slick. The Philadelphia 76ers selected Cureton with the 58th overall pick in the 1979 NBA draft. Cureton first excelled at Robert Morris University, before being recruited by then University of Detroit coach Dick Vitale to play for the Spartans. Later, with the Philadelphia 76ers in 1983 and the Houston Rockets in 1994, Curitin would go on to win 2 NBA titles. However, it seemed as though he had faced obstacles that put his livelihood in danger every season of his 12-year career, so much so that he occasionally had to travel abroad. Curitin added that he was a journeyman, and he worked on non-guaranteed contracts for his first 3 years. In Philadelphia, he had to make the roster each year. Throughout his career, Curitin shared the stage with Isaiah Thomas, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Jordan, and more. He was adept at blending in and enhancing teams. He defended and recovered. He also dealt with the right of first refusal rule of the league, which stated that when a player's contract expired, his old team would still be entitled to his rights even if they chose not to re-sign him. Any payment they desired from a team interested in signing the player might be made. It was a complicated procedure that nearly put Curitin's career in jeopardy. He admits that it was a lot of mental stress. The team had the opportunity to make any request they pleased. That rule never really appealed to him, and in order to escape it, he had to leave the country. Curitin played in locations such as Italy, France, Argentina, Mexico, and others. He came back to the continent to try out for the Pistons, Hornets, Rockets, and the expansion Raptors. In his early seasons, he made $55,000 to $65,000 annually, as opposed to the $1 million league rookie minimum for 2022 to 2023. It was all about surviving, he claims. There were just 24 clubs and maybe 270 players when he first entered the league. That is a select group. There are several talented players whose journeys to the league have been difficult or have resulted in failure. In addition to Cruz, Adams, and Curitin, the now famous basketball documentary Hoop Dreams, which first debuted in theaters in 1994, showed how challenging it could be for young, frequently inner-city-born athletes to break into the NBA. The film's 2 Chicago-born leads, Arthur Agee and William Gates, changed schools, suffered catastrophic accidents, and experienced intense periods of doubt before failing to advance to the professional ranks. Even well-known players who were successful in the league had to go through a lot. Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb, 2 small guards, were regarded as being unable to have a significant influence in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Despite this, Bogues went on to become famous for his work with the Hornets, averaging 10.8 points and 10.1 assists per game in the 93 to 94 season, and Webb went on to win the NBA's dunk contest at the '86 All-Star Game. 7'7" Manute Bol, who passed away in 2010, arrived from Sudan and crossed deserts and oceans to join the league. He was a former teammate of both Webb and Bogues, and the list continues. Kyrie Irving, an NBA champion and 7-time All-Star, recently posted on Twitter about his feelings as a young, aspiring shooter, wondering if he would ever get a chance to play in the league. He had a 1 in 3,333% chance of making it into the NBA when he was young, according to his father, who also advised him to make backup plans for the rest of his life, whether or not that happened. He then said that he's glad his dad gave him the truth because he knows who he is, with or without basketball. Even for the most gifted individuals, getting a position in the NBA is an almost impossible endeavor. The majority of draft picks in the league don't stick around, but as Curitin observes, it is a serious accomplishment if one manages to hang on and have a lengthy, successful career. Now you know just how difficult getting into the NBA can be, and the respect that those have done it deserve. What other topics do you want us to discuss? Inform us in the comment section. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.